Okay guys, we've done our BZO now. The next thing we're going to go into is a little more up close and personal type shooting, okay, which is what this kind of class is based around, defensive shooting stuff. Okay, we've got our battle sight zeros on the weapons. We're moving forward in the dynamic realm, okay. We're going to talk about stance. I'm going to use Chris as an example here, all right. Let's look at it. It all starts with the feet. We'll work from the feet and talk our way up with the stance, all right. You can see right now he's kind of nice and relaxed. He's in a standing, like you would normally stand around in conversation mode or whatever, but he's not really balanced too well. If I was to push him back, he doesn't have the weight shifted where we want it. So the first thing we want to do is shift our weight forward into the balls of the feet. This is generally going to give him more balance now, so if I try to push him, he's a little bit more sturdy. And if I pushed him hard enough and he did move, he would be able to punch right back into his stance. Next thing we're talking about is the knees. He's going to have a slight bend in the knees. He's going to have a forward bend in the waist. He's not going to kick his butt out, okay? He's going to slightly bend forward in the waist. He's not straight up and down, all right? He's putting his weight into the weapon, so it gives the bolt a rigid abutment to recoil against, okay? If you were to put this weapon against a concrete wall and pull the trigger, that's what we want, all right? So we would need to replicate that concrete wall. Moving up the body. Let's talk about the shoulders. Notice his shoulders are nice and tight. He's got good tension set. He's rolled them in into the weapon. All right, he's putting more of that forward pressure into the weapon to help with that recoil abutment, okay? Next thing is elbows. Notice his elbows aren't chicken winging, okay? How many of you guys seen that in the movies? All right, we don't do that. We keep them in tight. First of all, we don't want to get them shot off. Secondly, it keeps that tension set through the shoulders and translate down through the arm and then into the weapon. Moving forward, notice where his stock is, all right? His stock is not up and out of the shoulder. Go ahead and show that. Up really high. You'll see guys, they'll bring the weapon up to their face, okay? All right? Which is good if you're down here bringing the weapon up to the face, but a lot of times guys will stand straight up and you can see where's the center line of bore. It's coming right over his shoulder, just like that prone position we talked about. We want to get rid of that because when he shoots right now, it's going to recoil over the top of his shoulder and his body. Even though his body's in a good stance, it's not going to translate. So he needs to get behind the weapon, put his shoulders into it, and that's going to control the recoil. Notice his head is down on the stock. So if he lowered his weapon down to the low ready, all right, and he drove it up on the target, you notice his head didn't go to the gun. His gun came to his eyes, okay? Because our eyes, I kind of picture them as laser beams. I'm picking out my targets, and I'm bringing the gun up into that laser line. If we're moving our head down, we're probably going to be kind of inconsistent getting that cheek weld every time. Where if he gets into a good stance and drives the weapon up, notice his cheek weld's the same every single time. It's consistent. We'll talk about the grip on the gun. Notice his grip, he's got a high tang grip just like if we were holding a pistol right now. So make sure you get the same grip every time. If we have 1,000 variations of something, it's just working against us. All right, here we go. Vertical foregrips, guys. Not just a cool guy feature, all right, but a lot of people think that it's there to hold on to and grip, okay? It's not. All it is a reference point. You want to find a nice neutral position. You don't want it way far out where you're overextending your reaction hand, but you don't want it so close where you have minimal control of muzzle sway. When you transition from target to target, you don't want to transition and have a sway. We want to be able to transition and stop right where we want to stop. And that's where a good neutral position of the vertical foregrip is going to come into play. Notice where his thumb is. All right, how many guys grab a vertical foregrip like this? Reach around underneath. Okay, no big deal. But we're going to change that today. The reason why we're going to change that, okay, is because putting the thumb high center line of bore is going to help with control of stopping on that target when we start getting into multiple targets and stuff. All right, you have 100% more control of the weapon system like this than if you were wrapped around with a tennis grip or something like that, okay? Now, it's a reference point. He's just using his hands, and he's just kind of resting it in there. That's why I kind of like the stubby grips, the smaller, shorter grips, because I don't really use all this down here. Yeah, Andy, can you come out here for a second?
Andy, I'll have you.
Let me demonstrate now somebody that's not using a vertical foregrip. All right, there's basically, I break the grips down in 3 types. You've got 3 different types of weapon systems in the AR world, okay? You've got your standard KISS rifle, which is pretty much what he's running here. Okay, you've got your full-length rifle systems like Chris's SPR back there, or a competition upper. All right, and then you've got your tactical systems where you're running lights and lasers and all kinds of accessories, and that you need more of a reference point system, you know, like what Chris is running with lights and optics. All right. Now, KISS system this will apply for the AK guys because generally the same grip. All right, notice his grip is a little bit farther back to the rear, that's okay. All right. For his body position, he's kind of a shorter guy. That's what may fit him. That's what may be efficient for him. But the best thing to try to do is get that hand out a little bit more, especially if you've got a longer barrel. All right. Go ahead and break that thumb, center line of bore. Kind of like if you were shooting a pistol. You want your thumbs kind of pointing straight forward. It's a good reference point when you're driving from target to target. All right. But you're maintaining 100% more contact on the weapon. And if he was to transition right now, he would be able to stop it much better than if he had a magazine grip. Okay, I see a lot of people do that. Magazine grips are great and all that, but that was utilized back in the MP5 subgun days with little tiny short barrels when that was okay and you could still maintain 100% control of the weapon. But nowadays we've got these longer weapon systems, a little bit more weight out front. We're running lasers and big compensators, suppressors. Okay, so we need to have kind of a more forward center line of bore grip. It's just going to maintain overall control.
What you're going to have to do after we do a few drills is actually move your pistol grip, your vertical foregrip, forward, back, wherever you get it to where it actually works for you. So don't just leave it there. If it's not working for you, if it's not set up for you, put it where you need it.